Yeah, the time period was really an exciting time. Most every American was kind of excited. There was bad going on at the same time, but there was a lot of good. I would say that historically speaking, America was at its best during the late 1960s and shortly after World War II, because we were unified. We were pulling in the same direction, doing the same thing, and people were really pulling together, and it was a nice time to be an American. Anyway, we were sending up the Apollo astronauts, Apollo 1, 2, 3. We were now up to Apollo 11, and that was where, as you well know, historically, Neil Armstrong was the commander of that. And that was the one that was going to actually touch down, hopefully, on the moon. And it took off just 2 days before the day that we were in the airplane crash. And then it landed on the moon 2 days after. So I was in a coma when this moon landing occurred. So the question is, where were my parents? Were they sitting at my bedside while I'm in a coma, or were they watching the moon at home? And that's kind of a joke. We've been laughing at it ever since. But yeah, that's when that was. It was great to be an American. At that time, I think if you talk to most people, we thought, we can do it as a country. We're not trying to be better than anybody else, but let's just be as good as we can be. Can we go to space? Yes. Can we land on the moon? Yes. Can we make airplanes go faster than the speed of sound times 6? Yes. I mean, it's amazing what happened in those eras. For example, the Boeing 747 was made and delivered 1969. The Lockheed SR-71 was flying, but nobody knew it. The Concorde that was made, the supersonic transport, was burst in 1969. 1969, we went around the moon, and then we came back and landed on the moon. It was an amazing time. The music was awesome in 1969, and there was a lot of great things happening. So people would wake up and be pretty motivated. They were pretty positive about things. There was not a lot of gloom and doom. Yeah, we had racial issues. That was the big thing. We had a big problem in that area, but that seemed like it was going to get better. Anywho, that was the way it was on that day, July 18th, 1969, and I was full of optimism and confidence that I could reach my dreams just like everyone else seems to be around me, seems to be reaching their dreams. And there was a lot of people going to college and a lot of people succeeding in business, and the government was for your business. They weren't taking so much as they are today. The government was letting people kind of alone to do what they wanted to do. We didn't know we had it so good, but it was a good time.
I was going to say, at that time, it seemed like, for even in the country, but even in your own personal life, you're at the top of your game. And so I wonder if you, have you kind of, how would you answer in terms of why do you think this happened, the crash, or, at that time you were 19, you were young and full of life. And
it just, you mean why the crash happened? Are you saying?
Why you survived,
why the crash happened? I think that the crash occurred because of a combination of pilot error. I don't think that God created the crash or caused the crash. I think God knew there was going to be a crash. Obviously, He knows everything. And God could have protected us and not had the crash. But no, God doesn't necessarily do that. That's not usually the way God works. God does intervene on behalf of the prayers of His children. And we had that crash. Now, it took 2 years to really understand the details of what caused that crash. And it was about five factors that all entered in and came together all at one time. They were aviation, physical, science, and physics factors, and human factors. But they're all logical. And we had a series of things that, in hindsight, we did wrong. And had one of those things not been done wrong, there would have been no crash that day. But see, they were all lined up, typical of airplane crashes. It's usually never one thing that causes an airplane crash. The newspapers, they always want to know what caused this crash. It's never really that simple, usually. It's a combination of factors put together that happen.